that would show up in the things that you do, in the sense of not just giving it away to any and everyone. One really important thing to make sure that you are showing up as the best version of yourself is to fulfill your own needs, basically. So if you know that, for example, there's some people that have a hard time waking up early, but waking up early is something that they want to incorporate into their life as this new person that they are becoming, then that's more so something you want to work on and figure out, okay, what would make it easier for me to wake up early? There's some people that have the capability of staying up past 10 o'clock. You know, they're capable of going to bed around 11 or maybe even 12, you know, and still turning around and waking up feeling very full of energy around 7 and 8 in the early day. But you, on the other hand, you may not be that person. So for you, it would make more sense to be in the bed around 7 or 8 p.m. so that you can wake up around 7 or 8 a.m., you know, if that makes sense what I'm saying. There's just different things for different people. So that's one example. If you know that you want to incorporate waking up because maybe you've got different things going on to your life where you know that waking up early, you need those extra hours to be able to contribute towards that, or just waking up at that time just works better with everything you have going on, but it's hard for you to wake up. Going to bed early is something that you could do. Also, how you eat also contributes that, and not eating past a certain time as well, because you got to think, like, whenever you eat, your body is using energy in order to break down that food, in order to remove the nutrients from the food, in order to remove the waste, you know, so that it can turn into, you know, doo-doo, you know, so that you can expel that from your body. And all of that takes energy. It's actual work that your body's doing to you know, transform that food, you know, into removing the nutrients and removing the stuff that you don't need. And so whenever you think about that, it's better to eat like in a certain time where your body's up and it's actually moving around, versus when it's trying to sleep, because you know, then that food is just there. Then that food is there and your body's going to end up using energy that it doesn't need to be using at that time. When you wake up, you know, you'll have all that stuff in you, and your body's having to continue to work on that to break it down, especially if you ate like a lot, or if you ate something that's a little difficult and it's going to take your body longer to break down. That's also why it's important on what you eat as well. Like, I'm not a person that's going to like push a certain type of lifestyle on anyone, because I feel it's a thing of whatever works for you works for you. Whatever you feel like you want to do with your life, you should do that. But me personally, there are certain types of foods that are going to use up more energy of your body. Your body's maybe won't even have a way to actually break it down, and it will have to do other things in order to get that to break it down. And again, that's just a lot of energy being used for that. Just think about any time, say you had like a really big meal. You eat like pancakes, bacon, eggs, and waffles and grits and all sorts of things like that, and you just ate everything, like that entire just big meal or whatever. That all is within your stomach, you know, and that has to be able to pass through your intestines and your gut and everything. And so your body's going to have to break it down first, right? And it's like that takes a lot of work for your body to break it down, especially because of the types of food that is, especially because of the meat. So it's going to take a while for your body to break all of that down. And then on top of that, it's going to have to not only break it down because of the type of food it is, it's going to take long, but because of the amount of food it is, it's going to take a lot of energy to do that, because it's a lot to go through, you know. And that is a lot of energy, again, that your body will be using. So a lot of times after you eat that much, after you eat those types of foods, you're going to be very sleepy and you're going to be very tired. And it's because of the types of food that it is. It's because of the amount of food that it is, and it's because your body's using all that energy to break it down so that it passes through all the systems that it needs to, you know, all of that your body does in order to make sure that the body gets the nutrients that it needs, if it can get any nutrients from that. So another thing, the whole purpose of this is like, okay, to make sure you're showing up as the best version of yourself. I already talked about, like, if you want to wake up early, you know, how eating can affect that, if you eat at different times, what you eat and all that. So another thing, say that you're a person that wants to have more knowledge, or there's something that you want to learn something about, and there's certain types of books that you want to learn about. So say if you want to learn about CPR, or if you want to learn about how to do the Heimlich maneuver, I don't know how you say that, but you know what word I'm talking about. If you're a person that wants to learn that and say that there's a certain type of book that you need to read, or whatever it is, not just anything medically, that was just a quick example. This could be you want to learn about plants, or you want to learn about sewing, or you want to learn about cars or something, or you want to learn about like animals. Just say if there's whatever you want to learn about, but it's in book form, but you feel like you don't have enough time to read those books. Something that you're gonna have to do is make time for that. And now I know that's obvious, like, you know, but how do you make time for that? So one way you can make time for that, you can start off with like a small amount of time. So whatever you have planned, you can either start writing out your plans within a journal or something, or you can put it in your notes app, or you can put it on a calendar of the things that you're going to do throughout that day and set a time frame for each of those things. But if you're more so of a person that goes with the flow in some sense, I feel like there's not anything wrong with the go to the flow thing. I think it just depends on your lifestyle and depends on what type of person you are and how disciplined you are and what types of routines you have. But say if you are that type of person, you could put out 10 minutes of your time, or start off with 5, you know, if you want to, where you're like, no matter what, at some point today, I'm going to give 5 minutes to this, and there's no ifs and buts about it. And this is you talking to yourself about that. And so regardless of what you're doing, if you feel that you have some downtime, you know, instead of picking up your phone and like scrolling through social media, you can decide to pick up that book and give yourself 5 minutes and set a timer on your phone instead. And you put that energy towards focusing in the present moment what you're doing by reading that book. Or you can set it to 10 minutes. And that's something that you could do to build up that habit, where every day you give yourself that 5 minutes, or every day you give yourself that 10 minutes of that reading, and there you go. You've incorporated some type of plan to where now you're able to read every single day. Another thing as well, so if you're a person that is struggling with, say, time management, it's a matter of, first of all, like, how serious are you really taking this, and how much do you actually want this for yourself? So that's where you could start, you know, talking to yourself about that. You know, if you need a journal about some things, you could do that, you know, but just really asking yourself that question, because at the end of the day, it's like a matter of you either do it or you don't, you know. But this is something that can help with that. So there's some people that either fill up their time with too many different things and can't do everything, or you're a person that gives away your time to other people, where you start doing favors for other people, and that cuts into your own time, and next thing you know, you don't have any time to do the things that you are wanting to do for yourself, or that you need to do for yourself. And to me, that's a no-go. Like, whenever it comes to your time, you really should have an understanding of how important your time is and how valuable your time is. And if you genuinely understood how valuable your time is, that would show up in the things that you do, in the sense of not just giving it away to any and everyone. Now, this is not a thing of saying that helping someone is not something that's valuable or important, or being there for somebody is not valuable or important. But at the end of the day, you cannot be there for every single person all the time. It's a matter of you being there for yourself first. You know, you have to give yourself that time in order for you to, again, become the best version of yourself. And that's you, by you giving that time to yourself and making it a point to not just give your time away and doing things for people when you haven't even done things for yourself yet. And don't get me wrong, I know how that can be, to want to, you know, be there for your family member. Maybe they don't have anyone else, or you have just been doing it so long to where that's something that you're used to, or maybe you feel like you're saving someone where you can see that maybe they can't do certain things for themselves because either they just haven't, you know, found that type of, respect for themselves in order to want to do those things for themselves. So they're very reliant on you, and then, you know, you are enabling that, you know, because that could be a thing too, where maybe you are an enabler. An enabler is just someone who, I can give an example. Say that a father has a daughter. The daughter is about 40 years old, you know, which means that the father would be however old, you know, do the math of how that would work. But the daughter is 40 years old, but she doesn't have a car, you know, she doesn't have a job, she does not have any goals or aspirations, and she doesn't even like connecting with people. There's just a lot of things she's not interested in. The only thing she cares about is if the father is going to cook for her, like provide food, and if the father is going to allow her somewhere to stay. And this is not me saying that everything is about money, everything's about what you have materialistic wise, none of that, you know, because I know in other places outside of America things are completely different, but I'm just talking about inside of America where the society, you know, runs a certain type of way. That's more so what I mean. So if that's this type of situation, you know, the father might be feeling sometimes how like, oh, you know, okay, well, I would really like to go beekeeping this day, but you know, my daughter needs me to run her to the store so she can get some of these items or whatever, and then I got to bring her back to the store and then cook her something at the home. You know, it's sounding very much like, okay, a father taking care of his daughter, but the daughter is well over, you know, 40 years old. And I'm not the type of person that thinks that by a specific age you should not be living with your parents, because everybody's different and everything is different. And there's some people that live with their parents and they do have plenty of different things going on with them. You know, there's a lot of different reasons, and you can't really pinpoint or say what should be what, because everyone is different and their own lives are their own lives. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But the enabling thing, whenever you do that, where you're just not allowing this person to find out and to fend for themselves, allows them to be codependent and reliant on you. And you know, obviously that's going to cut into your time. Think about young parents, or think about parents period, that have like younger children. Obviously those children are children, so they're going to be very dependent and reliant on this adult figure in their life to provide all of those things for them, because they cannot do it for themselves yet. And that's obviously going to consume your time, and you will not be able to, you know, pour as much time as you would as if you didn't have any kids into yourself, you know, that sort of thing. And so because this person is an adult, and you could have multiple adults like that in your life, where you are just giving all of this to these people and you're not allowing them to, you know, help themselves basically. And this is, again, it's not to say that you can't be there for people to help them in some ways, but there's a difference between, you know, being helpful to people and being an enabler. You know, an enabler, you know, you're literally taking care of them as if it's your own body, and you're not allowing them to do anything for themselves. You are allowing these people to be dependent on you, codependent. It's like that type of relationship. If you know anything about that, you know, you can research some of that to go in more depth about that. But if you're doing that, that's also why you don't have any time for yourself. And a lot of times, if you are doing that, that can lead to feelings of frustration and anger and even depression. You know what I'm saying? And what that is because you are not taking care of your needs, and you are not fulfilling your needs. You are not giving yourself that time, and you're not even paying attention to your time. So obviously you're going to be frustrated with everything going on outside of you, but really it's frustration with yourself because you haven't made that decision to make the best decision for yourself. Like, some people can pinpoint it at, well, if it wasn't for them not doing this and getting a job and always asking me to do stuff, I would be able to do this. But really what it is it's you allowing them to do that. You know, so really it's a matter of, if you would put your foot down and you make certain boundaries and set certain standards and certain rules, then certain things are going to change. You know what I'm saying? I could re-say that. You can't expect something different. You cannot expect different results from doing the same thing. That's basically what I'm saying. But yeah, that's some things you could do to go towards becoming the best version of yourself. If you resonated with anything I spoke about, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing, so that this video reaches someone who may also need to hear this message. Thank you, and bye.